All right, and welcome back. Welcome back, Mississippi Wrestling fans. I know it's like Christmas after Christmas, multiple episodes close together. It's a nice time, but we're back. We're back at it with your newest episode of the SIP Wrestling Podcast. As always, I'm your host Tyler Knox, co-hosted with Andy. Andy, how you doing? Beardless?
Fantastic as always, and not happy about being beardless.
Yeah, I
That's
know
for sure.
you lost your beard and I shaved my head, so we're a little bit, we're ready to go.
Did you have to shave it to lose the hair?
I mean, I was already losing it. I just finally let it go. I mean, let's be real. But yeah, man, welcome back. We've been hard at it, I think, as most people can see. Um, Knocking out some rankings, staying up, burning the midnight oil, staying up to midnight to get these done.
Dude, it's been a couple long nights. I was super fortunate, and I got off work early today, and I was able to knock out the girls' rankings today. And so I didn't have to stay up all night today. Really trying to just knock out all this stuff, like we promised before Dual State, and just be ready to go.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun. I really like doing rankings, and when I did it before by myself a couple years ago, I was like, man, I'm never going to do this again. But it's not as bad when you have somebody to do it with, and to kind of talk out your crazy a little bit,
Yeah.
or kind of chop your mindset. Like redoing girls today by myself was rough.
Yeah.
Rough.
Well, I appreciate you doing the girls. I don't know anything about the girls. Sorry, girls. I mean, I do, but not enough. So I appreciate you doing them. It has been fun to sit and argue weight classes with you. I look forward to doing it again next year and later in this season.
Oh yeah, we're not done this year, baby.
Oh, yeah, we're not done.
We're not done yet.
We're not done, and it's been fun. And I think what we portray on the podcast is a lot of time our thoughts align, and they do align a lot of times. But in the rankings, it's been nice to say, I don't know. What do you think about this kid? What do you think about this kid? And then argue with you about this kid, and you argue with me about that kid. So it's been nice to argue back and forth and come up with, I think, is the best product we can come up with. And I know we're kind of stalling to let some people get into the chat, so we'll continue to stall and let some people get in the chat. But
yeah, so I also know that we're kind of dumb, and all the spelling errors and the name errors and all of that stuff, that's my fault. It's been long nights, right? And so we're clicking through track trying to get names, like the 215 pounder from D'Aberville is Jaden Johnson, not Jalen Johnson, right? Who is also D'Aberville's 175 pounder. But when you see Jay Johnson and the same school together right there, it's going to happen. So I'm not making excuses. I'm just not smart, right? If I was smart, I wouldn't be 13 years in the military. And I'm a fighting CB, right? Build and fight, not read and write. So
that's right. Neither one of us claim to be the most intelligent in the world. I mean, we do both work full time for the military and operate on a 7th grade reading level, and I think it shows when we have to spell people's names. So I know we misspelled some names. I say we. Andy misspelled some names, but I could have helped him with the spelling. I didn't. It is what it is. Sorry if we misspelled your name. The thought was still there, and like they say in getting a bad Christmas gift, the thought is what counts, right? So, but look, while we're talking about it, shout out to Chris Truckner for doing our graphics for us. Man, did a great job with them.
I just want to say 5-star service. 5-star service. That's a 5-star Yelp review for sure. I think there was one night where we had just finished up ranking. I was getting ready to go to bed, and I sent Chris Truckner rapid right after we finished, copy paste, sent it to Chris on Facebook, and 15 minutes later at midnight, I had graphics ready to go for the next day, and it was crazy. I didn't expect that turnaround, and he's done a phenomenal job. Got a couple more graphics that we're waiting on, and then we'll be ready to post. And the rankings graphics were all Chris. the potential quarterfinals matchups were all Chris. Chris does have to coach on Saturday, so I don't know how likely or how deep those potential matchups are going to be. But I mean, that was awesome. Big shout out to Chris Truckner on those graphics. Great job. The SIP Wrestling logo looks sweet. I loved it. I was thrilled. Tickled pink.
Yeah, he hooked us up on those graphics. So, Chris, I appreciate it. You know, I love you. So yeah, man, we really appreciate it. But hey, since you brought it up, Saturday, dual state finals for the boys and the girls. So
Cool.
while we continue to kill time, letting some people load into the stream before we go over the rest of the rankings, man, let's talk about these dual state finals. And I know you're apprehensive to talk about it because y'all are in it on both the boys and the girls side. So let's just take Van Cleve out of the mix. All right. You don't have to talk about Van Cleve. I'll handle the Van Cleve talk for you. So on the boys side of the thing, you know what? Let's start with the girls. We always start with the boys. Let's start with the girls this time. So on the girls side of it, you know, you got the semifinal matchups of the number 1 seed Oxford in the north going against the number 4 seed Oak Grove in the south. And then on the same side of the bracket, you got North Pontotoc, the 3 seed. I'm sorry, South Pontotoc, the 3 seed from the north, and Ocean Springs, the 2 seed from the south. And on the bottom half of the bracket, North Pontotoc, the 2 seed from the north, are going against Van Cleve, the 3 seed from the south. And then Starkville, the 4 seed from the north, going against St. Martin, the 1 seed from the south. That's going to round out your quarterfinals. And then obviously the winners will face in the semifinals. The winners will face, and the winners of that will face in the championship. So look, round 1, you know, y'all are on the bottom half of the bracket, so we can talk about the top half all we want to.
Look, and so one thing we've already seen one of those matchups on the bottom side is we've already seen one of those matchups with Oak Grove and Oxford.
Yeah, on the top side.
So that should be a good, exciting round 2. Hopefully we look at Oak Grove to make some adjustments there. Oak Grove's got a pretty tough team. And Oxford's got a heck of a team too. South Pontotoc and Ocean Springs should be a pretty good duel. South Pontotoc ladies have really been turning it up. I don't know. I might be making a bold claim here, but I think South Pontotoc might have more girls on their team than they have boys. I don't know. I might be talking out my butt right there, but I know that they've got a decent amount of ladies on their list, and they had a couple of those ladies made my rankings for the top 4. So shout out to them. Really looking forward to going against North Pontotoc. Kind of did the track wrestling stock. I'm really excited for how that's going to match up. And then St. Martin's and Starkville are going to be a lot of fireworks too. So
since you're more of the girls coach, do you see any upsets? I mean, I say more of the girls coach. You do coach the Van Cleve girls, so you're more into the girls side of it. We don't have girls at St. Andrews. I try to pay attention to it as much as I can, but it's not really streamed a whole lot. Are there any potential upsets in that first round? You think?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're not going to call them, though, are you?
Yeah. Well, hang on. We already know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, we know you're going to say y'all going to upset North Pontotoc, as you should, because you're the coach.
We all know that I don't give a piss about nothing but the Cleve, baby.
Yeah.
But no, so I mean Oak Grove has a really tough team, and Oxford has a really tough team. There's a little bit of familiarity there.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting to see their adjustments.
Yeah.
But for the most part, right? I think that the bracket's going to play out the way that it should. Unfortunately, the only disappointment there is going to be North Pontotoc's going to get upset in the first round. So,
hey, call your shot, baby. Be confident. But look, I mean, you know, you got a point with Oak Grove and Oxford. You know, I mean, a lot of these teams have in the first round have not matched up against each other before. But you're talking about first round potential upsets. I mean, Oxford's got a hell of a girls team.
Yes, they do. Yeah, they are. And they're deep. And like going through the girls' rankings, Oxford is a school that's going to be pretty heavily talked about. And you know, I think they're gonna make a good push in the individual tournament too. And I love it. I love it. Like
Yep.
I'm ready. I'm ready for the smoke. And you know, in a tournament team too. I mean, I think personally, I think my young ladies are a better tournament team than they are a duels team. But I mean, we're ready for the smoke, man. I mean, we're ready to toe the line with anybody that wants to toe the line with us. So
Yeah. Well, like you said, Oak Grove and Oxford wrestled each other before. It's hard to beat a team once. It's even more hard. It's harder. There's that Army education in you. It's harder to beat a team a second time. So maybe Oak Grove can get them. I do think that the seedings are going to play true to form. Maybe y'all get North Pontotoc. Maybe Oak Grove can get Oxford. Maybe Starville can get St. Martin. Who knows? But ultimately, when it comes down to it, I think you're going to have an Oxford. I think Oxford will wrestle in the finals. And to be honest with you, on the south side of the bracket, I mean, I can see any of the 4 teams on the south side of the bracket making it to the championship round here for the girls.
so more often than not, and in this duel, especially on the girls' side of the bracket, I'm gonna heavily lean south. Just because, just like based purely on roster size.
Right.
You know, right now, I think St. Martin has almost a complete lineup. Ocean Springs has a complete lineup, if not almost a complete lineup. You know, we have 1 to 2 spots where we're giving up forfeits. I don't necessarily know if the North can say the same across the board. I know Oxford has a pretty big team. Looking at like some of the lighter weights up north, they're pretty thin in the lightweights.
Yeah.
And then where I think it's going to come down to one of those where, you know, we having a fuller lineup is going to be significantly beneficial, because even if it does end up in a tie, I mean, one of those first tiebreakers is most forfeits.
Right.
And you know, I think that just roster size and roster fullness, I don't even think that's a word.
Yeah, it's not in the Scrabble dictionary, but we'll count it.
Like just how full the rosters are. I mean, from top to bottom. I think the North is at a disadvantage there.
Right.
I mean, the wrestling could be good. I mean, we don't know. I mean, the South doesn't like to go north, and the North doesn't like to go south very often, other than a handful. Oak Grove ventured north. Lewisburg's kind of ventured south, but we didn't get to see anything with on the ladies' side of the house. So really, right now, the common opponent is Oak Grove going up to the North Sip Rodeo. But I mean, we're looking for that action, man. It's going to be a good time.
Good deal. Yeah, I'm excited about it. It's nice to see the girls having the official
yes,
first dual state.
Shut up, right? Marissa Shepard said, "Go Navy, beat Army." That's right.
All right. But hey, look, I am excited this year for the girls. They get their first official dual state championship. We don't have the All-Star duel, so I'm super pumped about this for them. Even more so, I'm pumped that at the start of the season, we started it with 2 teams from the North, 2 teams from the South, and we decided to expand it to 4 and 4. I think that's great. It just shows that the girls' sport is growing. I hope it continues to grow, and hopefully this dual state will do that. Hopefully we can take advantage of that, stream it a little bit, put it out there, and hopefully we can grow it and get more girls teams out there. You know,
I'm pretty sold on the 4-team race for the state duels for the girls side. Wasn't a super big fan of top 2, but I'm glad that it expanded. I mean, obviously it worked out in my favor, but I'm glad for the expansion. And I think honestly, what it does is it grows the sport as a whole. Even if like some of the North teams, you know, necessarily aren't full, what it does it takes a team like South Pontotoc and goes, hey, you know, we beat Tupelo out for a spot. Corinth, Lewisburg, like name Saltillo, like we beat them out for a spot. Like this is a state playoff caliber team. It gets
Yep.
more girls in the mat room.
Yep.
Really stoked for that. And like David Sutherland just saying in the chat right now, he said all the duels are going to be on Flow Wrestling this weekend. Super stoked about that.
Yeah.
I'm a big Flow guy. Looking forward to seeing myself on Flow. Love it. So
yeah. There you
just
go. Speaking of Flow, I
myself
gotta
on the back.
re-up my subscription on Flow. I think I accidentally let it expire. So
Uh-oh. Well, I haven't had any issues, so I think you might be good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forget you're using mine. So yeah, we're good then. We're good there. So
all right, but you got to check on that because you know who I'll be calling if I can't get on.
yeah, I know. All right, so let's go to the boys' side of the bracket. All right, so the boys' side, the 1 seed out of the South, obviously y'all is going to match up against Oxford, the 4 seed from the North in the first round. Then Ocean Springs, the 3 seed. Maybe I don't want to say surprising, but based on what happened in the past, surprising 3 seed. Ocean Springs going up against the surprising 2 seed from the North and Tupelo in the first round. And on the south side of the bracket, you got Picayune, the 2 seed from the South, going against the 3 seed North Pontotoc from the North. And then the 4 seed Oak Grove going against the 1 seed Lewisburg. So on the boys' side of the bracket, again, you got a who's who of good wrestling here, a who's who of full teams. That's what's important here, too. It shouldn't be a whole lot of forfeits, just a couple here and there. But, man, I think the boys' side of this bracket could have just all sorts of fireworks in it, all sorts of implications on state seeding for the individual tournament. It's going to be great. As you can tell from the who's going to match up with who inside of the top 10 graphics, that's a pretty big graphic, to see who's who in the potential first round and who's wrestling what. So, you think any surprises in the first round on the boys' side?
I think a big surprise. Well, no, not a whole lot of surprises. Really looking at those two. Looking at the bracket, I'm really looking at those 2 duels in the middle in the first round. Ocean Springs and Tupelo should be a really good duel, and Picayune and North Pontotoc should be a really good duel. I'm really interested in the Picayune and North Pontotoc duel. I think those are 2 teams that match up pretty well together. Picayune's pretty good on the bottom side of the bracket. I know that's really where North Pontotoc is really strong, is in the bottom side of their bracket, and then Picayune has a couple pretty heavy hitters in the top side of their bracket or in the top side of their lineup. So I mean that's a duel to me that is going to be a lot of fun to watch. And that's going to be I think it's probably going to be a pretty close score. And then Ocean Springs and Tupelo, I think, is going to be a pretty good duel. I look at that not being an upset as where the bracket's at. So right. I look at Tupelo beating Ocean Springs, right? And so one of those things is you're going to say, Andy, you just hate Ocean Springs. Well, you're not wrong, but you're also looking at that as Ocean Springs has been hugely bit by the injury bug this year,
right?
Especially to their starting lineup,
right?
Where, I mean, they're out probably 3 or 4 of their starters that they had at the beginning of the season, and at the beginning of the season, I probably would have been chirping maybe a little bit different of a tune once Ocean Springs really got going, especially against Tupelo. But I like the way that Tupelo matches up with Ocean Springs. I think that there's going to be a couple matches that Ocean Springs takes. But I think that duel is going to lean pretty heavily to Tupelo.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think the ones to watch in the first round, I mean, Picayune North Pontotoc, like you said, is going to be a good one. They match up very well together. But I think Oak Grove actually matches up better for Lewisburg than what people think. Again, Oak Grove is pretty good in some of those lower weights where Lewisburg kind of struggles. But Lewisburg's pretty good in the middle weights and towards the heavier side of the bracket. And, Oak Grove's got some heavy hitters on the heavy side too. So I think that's going to line out. I think it's going to be a pretty good matchup. I think all these matchups the first round are going to be pretty good. I hate to say it to Oxford. Unfortunately, I'm trying to be nice, but I don't know how to say it nicely because I'm supposed to be the nice one. I think y'all got Oxford's number in the bag. I think it's going to be fun to see who y'all match up against in the second. I think it could be Tupelo, it could be Ocean Springs. I think for content purposes, as a content creator for the sport of wrestling, I want it to be Ocean Springs because I want to see you and Ocean Springs have this duel and just fireworks. It's always fireworks when y'all wrestle each other. So, but I do ultimately think Tupelo is going to come away with it. And on the south side of the bracket, I do think that North Pontotoc could maybe slip Picayune, and we could get that Lewisburg North Pontotoc rematch, which would be a lot of fun because that'd be fireworks. But the key thing to take away is I think you're going to get a team from the north and a team from the south meet in the finals. Whether that is North Pontotoc, Lewisburg.
Which I mean, so you look at that, right? And so that would be the first time that a team from the north has made dual state finals in the last 4 years. There's not been a team. It's been Ocean Springs and Van Cleve in the last 2 years, or the last 3 years in the state finals of dual state.
So I think that, whether it's going to be North Pontotoc or whether it's going to be Lewisburg, it's going to be one of those schools. As we said with the girls, if Lewisburg and North Pontotoc meet in the semifinals, it's hard to beat somebody once. It's even harder, more hard, or hard. I don't like the way that sounds. It's going to be it's even more challenging. Yeah, that'll work. To beat somebody twice. So I think it's going to line up to be Lewisburg and Van Cleve in the dual final. We get to see a rematch of that, which again, 38-30 was the final score when y'all.
Yeah, it was a close duel. It was a close duel. Kind of gone back, watched it. I think that we had some kids that didn't match where we needed them to match. But like I said before, big shout out to Lewisburg, and we get along really well with the Lewisburg program. Cody Gilbert is one of my favorite people in the state, and he got a hell of a team. So we're ready. We're ready to toe the line with anybody in the state, boys side, girls side. It doesn't matter. Our kids are looking to compete, and at the end of the day, my kids can get beat just as bad as anybody else can get beat. They have to be on their stuff, man. All of these teams are in this postseason for a reason.
Yeah, they're all good.
And all it takes is a couple kids to have a bad day, and that busts a bracket pretty quick.
Yep, they're all good.
We're all just looking to get after it, and we're just ready for the opportunity.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot more fun to talk about afterwards. Unfortunately, I myself will not be there. Kids stuff, I love wrestling and I love all of this stuff, and I do this because I love it. But my kids are always going to come first, and one of my youngest has 2 soccer games in Hattiesburg that day. So Saturday I'll be in Hattiesburg watching soccer. But hey, one last thing I wanted to talk about on the state duels. So as a coach, you, me, all of us as a coach, you think there's going to be a little bit of an advantage for the schools in the north who get to have that extra practice on Friday? Or are y'all going to get up there early enough Friday to try to get a practice in?
No comment.
That's kind of what I figured. So, all right. Well, look, maybe there's a little home field advantage for the schools in the north to get one last practice in on Friday. Some of these schools have to travel. Maybe they get there early enough to get a practice. Maybe they don't.
Fortunately for us, we had another program that was welcoming, and they're opening their doors for us to get some work on Friday night. But we're just ready for the opportunity, ready to get after it. It's postseason, baby. Who's not excited?
That's right. In the words of Bruce Buffer, it's time.
It's time.
But look, hey, real reason why people tuned in today was not to hear us ramble on about the state duel. Maybe it was a ramble on about the state duel, but I think it was probably rankings driven. So let's get into it. We've rambled for 24 minutes. Let's hit these rankings. We got a lot more to do. Last time we did 5. How many we got to do today?
9.
So let's get through them. Let's give them all a little credit. So let's start at 138 since we left off at 1these So 138.
That's the coach coming out, and David right there. He said, "Shoot, what are you talking about? These kids will all work these kids will work out on the bus. Never skip a day."
Yeah, come on, David. We were wrestlers riding a bus too, and you know damn well those kids are sleeping on a bus unless they got to cut weight In which
Look,
case,
I don't know if you've ever rode a Van Cleve bus, but those kids are going to put in some work.
yeah, put in some work on your nerves.
Oh, that's probably true too.
But all right, rankings 138. 138. Coming into the one spots, Justin Pierce out of East Central. Coming into two, Cooper Warren, North Pontotoc. The three, Logan Bradley from Lewisburg. Maybe a surprising three based on how we had him at the start of the year, but that's where he falls. 4, Mark Sudduth, Oxford. 5, Tony Brewer from Picayune. 6, Johnny Chatelaine from St. Patrick's. 7, your boy James Jacobs out of Van Cleve. And then 8 is Furrick O'Neill. I'm sure I said that wrong. Furrick O'Neill out of Starville. So
I'm sure you did too.
I'm sure I did. Justin Pierce has had a hell of a year. He's wrestled his ass off. He's taken a couple in-state losses, but to nobody on this list, I don't think. Cooper Warren, again, hell of a season. He does have a win over Logan Bradley, which is why he's sitting at 2 and Bradley's sitting at 3. We know what Logan Bradley is. He's a returning state champion. He's a one-time state champion, returning state finalist, finished second last year. This year, it's kind of, maybe I don't know. We've seen some uncharacteristic losses out of him this year. Saw him miss weight one time this year. So who knows what's going to happen there. Hopefully he gets a fire lit on his butt and he wrestles the way that we know he can. And then Mark Sudduth from Oxford's had a good year. Tony Brewer's had a good year. All these guys have had good years. None of these guys have had a bad year. So congratulations to 138.
So, and then with every other with every other weight that we've done, words are hard, right?
Words are hard.
With every other weight that we've done, these are all subject to change, right? Rumor mill be a flowing, and like some of these kids are rumored to go down, but
some kids are rumored to go up,
and yeah, that's also true, right? 138 is one of those where we might have a kid bumping up to 138. So we'll see how that works out. But
yeah, a kid in the rankings who's got a win over the number one guy at 138, right?
That's the truth. But it's looking good. These are subject to change. Really looking forward to redoing these after South State and North State. And then we'll have an absolute idea where these kids are going to go and weights aren't going to change. And me and Tyler will be back pulling names out of our butt.
That's right. One that I don't think will change, though, is the 144 number one seed. So, our number one rank. Sorry, not seed. Let me rephrase that, because if I say seed, people are going to be like, it's a seed. All right. One, I don't think
we've already been seeing it. Like, you look at the social media, they're already trying to claim the number one seed. Like, it's not. This is a rank.
It's rank.
Not
a seed. This is just our opinion. But yeah, the number one at 144, I don't think it comes as a surprise. Tripp Allen, Saltillo. Number 2, Colton Gilbert Van Cleve. Number 3, Porter Vaughn Tupelo. Number 4, Carson Hale from North Pontotoc. Number 5, Christian Steele from St. Martin. Number 6, Tristan Rogers from Oxford. Number 7, Brayson Sims from Oak Grove. And 8, Sawyer Malone out of Ocean Springs. Again, this one, I think this was one of those where when we came into the number one, it was pretty much, we said, all right, we're done with 138. Let's start with 144. Who's coming behind Tripp? And, I think that's kind of how that went.
It's good. And I really like the potential matchup of Tripp and Colton. I think they both have a pretty solid style. And then, Tripp is probably my favorite Mississippi wrestler on social media. I love it. Carson Hale's Porter Vaughn does have a win over Tripp. And then has
Tripp's avenged that, 3 times over now?
Several times.
Yeah.
Several times in a unique fashion. He's just been getting after it. And then, Carson Hale, Christian Steele, Tristan Rogers. Should be a fun weight to watch.
Yeah, it will be a fun weight to watch. It'll be fun. I do look forward to seeing the potential matchup between Tripp and Colton. It like you said, I've seen them both wrestle, and they both have a style that matches up very well with each other, so it'll be fun. All right, I went the wrong way. All right, so 150. Do you have anything left to say about 144?
No, sir.
All right. 150. 150. We got the first North Pontotoc number 1 ranked guy in the state, and Luke Hale. We do have Javier Ruiz from St. Martin at 2, but I think we've been told that he's no longer on the team. So
He isn't.
So might as well just bump up Ian Shepard to 2 from DeSoto Central, who's had a hell of a year.
Sorry about your misspelling of your name.
Yeah, sorry about that, especially since his mom is super, supportive of the podcast. We're sorry about that. We do love you, and we love all the
Outside of Will Picky, I think Marissa is my biggest fan.
I don't know if I call Will Picky your biggest fan.
Hey,
Anyway,
hey, come meet me at Dual State. Let's take a selfie, Will.
Back to it.
I'll post it on the socials.
So Luke Hale, number 1, North Pontotoc. Ian Shepard, number 2, DeSoto Central. Ethan Perkins, number 3 from Picayune. Logan Doherty, number 4 from Van Cleve. Joey Fisher coming in at 6, and then Logan Watson from Hernando at 7, and then Jay Chisholm from Saltillo at 8. My phone's getting blown up, so take it away.
I literally just got the same text from our buddy, and I was about to say the same thing. So we got some fireworks in this weight. Well, okay, not now. Well, we're gonna go. Keep going 150 because the fireworks came in the next weight.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think that Joey does have a win over Luke Hale this year, but I think it was ultimately came down to the wins losses, and Luke Hale had I think he had more wins losses if I remember correct. But look, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to watch. Joey Fisher and Logan matched up already once this year, and it was a lot of fun to watch that one. Ian Shepard, from what I've seen on streams, has been a lot of fun to watch. So I think from here at 150, I think this is a unique weight class at 150. I think we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that anybody from the top 5, and I'm taking Javier Ruiz out, so you got to bump Joey Fisher up to the 5. But I think anybody in that top 5 could have easily been number 1, could have easily been 2, 3, 4, or 5. Like, I think you could have, like a deck of cards, shuffled them and pulled a card out, and it would have been the right answer. And I think ultimately when it comes down to the state championship, it's going to be fun to watch these kids wrestle each other, because I think anybody can beat anybody and come away with this one. I think it's the only weight in the state that I think, in my opinion, where I'm not looking at it going, this kid's probably going to win a state title. Like, I think I look at this weight and I think to myself that out of these 5 kids, any of them could win.
I am 100% sharing the same sentiment. This is a pretty wide open weight class. And it's really going to come down to Valentine's Day weekend, whoever wants it the most. I kind of look at 157 in Mississippi the same way that I looked at, or you look at kind of NCAA 125 Division I last year. It's kind of whoever's going to show up. Like you said, the top 4 or 5 kids all have a pathway to get there. There's not really a big breakaway. There's not one kid. I mean, for the most part, there's 1 or 2 kids in most of these weights that we're like.
Look, and we can even go as far as to say, like, I haven't seen a whole lot of Jay Chisholm, but even Logan Watson from Hernando. Like, the times I've seen them on the duel, like, Logan Watson knows how to wrestle people. Like, even though it's a first-year program. Like, 150 is the most open weight class of the tournament, I think. And it's going to be great. It's going to be fun. It's going to be, like I keep saying, fireworks. I need to find another phrase, but that's what I got today. So, moving on in the interest of not making this 2 hours long. 157.
157. Right.
I'm gonna let you say it because
Nope. Let's go ahead and let's just drop the rankings. Right. Hey, so we got Clay Crane at number 1 from Tupelo, Eli Sheffield from North Pontotoc at 2, Ian Dempsey from Van Cleve at 3, Jericho Johnson from St. Patrick's at 4, Grayson Strickland from Picayune at 5, 6. We got Jonathan Hopes from Center Hill, Garvin Leo from St. Andrews at 7, and Brandon Ladd at 5. I think that might have been one of the names that we might have messed up. But so siren emoji, breaking news.
Breaking news. Woo woo.
The number 6 ranked individual just beat the number 1 ranked individual at that weight. So it looks like we had Jonathan Hopes get a victory over Clay Crane there. So, what do you take on this? Is this stock down on Clay Crane? Is this stock up on Jonathan Hopes?
I
Or
think
is
it's
it both?
more. I think it's more stock up on Jonathan Hopes, and I hated this when we did it. I hated that we put Jonathan Hopes at 6. Me and you, I don't think either one of us wanted to do that based on the body of work from the past from Jonathan Hopes. But Center Hill just hasn't wrestled an outrageous amount this year, so it's been hard to see what Center Hill has on their lineup. We know Jonathan Hopes. We know that he can wrestle. We've seen it. What did he finish in the state last year? 3-2. I can't remember, but he was wrestling.
No, like 4. I think 4. So I
4.
think last year him and Logan Doherty wrestled in the first round of the state tournament, and then Jonathan Hopes got that win over Logan, and then I think Logan got his get back for 3rd.
Yeah, but I mean, and tonight he beats Jonathan Hopes in the 6th rank, beats the number 1 ranked Clay Crane. Does that shuffle the rankings? Probably. But again, still like, when you talk about wrestling rankings, it's hard to justify putting someone who doesn't have as many matches. Like Clay's got a lot of matches in the state this year. He's got some losses, but I don't know. I think it's more of a bump up for Jonathan Hopes than a knockdown for Clay Crane. And the good thing is we'll get to see him again at North State Individual and then go from there. Maybe when we redo it, maybe that flips. But, I mean, again, 157, another one of those weights where I think you could go all the way down to the 8 guy and anybody can beat anybody on this list. I mean, even, you take our kid, Garvin Leo, at 7. Doesn't necessarily have the body of work this year, but we've seen Garvin Leo wrestles a weird little, funky style. And some people that is hard to overcome. So 157 is going to be a fun one to watch. We're going to get to see some of these matchups in the state duels and see how it goes. But I do think Jonathan Hopes is higher than 6. But that's where we had to put him in this initial one. So when we redo it, he'll probably won't be at 6. He'll probably be a little higher. So,
Probably.
Yeah.
All right. You want to go into 165?
Yep. 165. And
I'll be right back. You go ahead and go.
Okay. 165. And Andy's dark horse for the pound for pound when we did it that we decided to abandon because everybody's beating everybody. Sitting at the 1, Darian Champlin at the 1 from Picayune, Parker Bradley from Lewisburg at 2, Brandon Myhan from Saltillo at 3, Clayton Jacobs from Van Cleve at 4, Liam Coffey from St. Andrews at 5, Mike Wilbanks, North Pontotoc 6, Shaw Pruitt from the Mississippi School of Math and Sciences, glad they got somebody on this list at 7, and then Caspian Thomas from Ocean Springs at 8. Champlin has just about beat everybody below him and doesn't have a loss to anybody below him, so he deserves that 1 spot. You could say the same for Parker Bradley. Ultimately, it came down to wins, losses. Parker does have most of his losses coming out of state, but that's ultimately how it came down to there. So you look at 1 and 2, and you call it 1A, 1B if you want to. Myhan dropping down to 65, wrestled a lot of the season at 75. So Brandon Myhan, again, a loss at 75, not a whole huge body of work at 65. So we'll see how that one plays out between him and Parker in the North. Clayton Jacobs has wins over Liam Coffey, but did lost to Parker Bradley, which is why he's there. Mike Wilbanks, again, another accomplished wrestler out of North Pontotoc, but again, the matches just weren't there to put him any higher. And then Shaw Pruitt from Mississippi Math and Sciences. I like to see somebody on the list for them. But again, I think you got another one of these weight classes. These middle weights are kind of all like this. They kind of all share this common theme where realistically 1 through 6 could probably make a run at each other. And all it takes is one upset and somebody's off to the races. So, I mean, you're looking at – these are all good wrestlers at 1 through 6 who are putting in work. And when they wrestle, it's fun to watch, I hate it because Liam has had leads over Parker and Clayton Jacobs the 2 times he's lost to him, and then kind of gassed out and got beat by both of them. But it is what it is, and it be what it be, and that's how the sport rolls sometimes. Clayton Jacobs does have 2 wins over Liam Coffey. They do have the common Parker Bradley and Clayton did wrestle, and Parker ended up winning that one. So I think these rankings probably are the most accurate in the state that we've done so far. But again, I think anybody can beat anybody. You go all the way down to 6, and anybody can upset anybody on this.
Yeah, for sure in the top 5. I'm really, really solid on how this shakes down. Darian has had a heck of a season. Every time I watch him, it's electric. Parker Bradley is always a fun wrestler to watch. Coming out, I think that the matches that I've seen with Darian. So the reason that we put Darian over Parker, did you already talk about that?
I said it came down to wins losses. Parker
So
had a lot
wins
of
and
losses.
losses and some common opponents. So just with both of those have wins over Clayton Jacobs from Van Cleve at the 4 seed. And it really just came down within a couple points of how that was going, or of that margin of victory.
Yeah.
But so I mean, that being said, right? So I think Clay is one of those kids he's not too far out. Kind of gets it going, and the wrestling looks a little different than the score does.
Yeah.
And we've all seen matches like that where one match looks like it might have been gotten away with. The wrestling of that match wasn't necessarily indicative of the score, or vice versa. Right. You see those close matches where it seems like one person just kind of dominated. This is an easy weight that, I mean, I think that we're pretty close on how it's going to shake out. But I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if one of those guys that's in the middle of this rankings comes out on top of the podium.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I use Liam as an example of that. I mean, Liam had Parker Bradley in such a deep cradle in the duel not too long ago, and Parker fought his way out of it and ended up coming away with a pin. Liam had Clayton Jacobs on his back in that same duel, and Clayton fought out of it and came back to a pin. I mean, those 2 wins happen, and now you're talking about flip-flopping probably 5-2 or 5-3. You know what I mean? Like pushing 3-2 and then 5-3. So who knows what can happen in the state tournament, and that's what makes wrestling fun.
Absolutely.
So yeah, 165. 175. Again, I think this is another one of those weights where when we sat down and looked at it, it was pretty easy to pull out Garner Taylor from Ocean Springs to be the one. A big jump up in weight for him, but the kid's a monster. He's super strong. The throws come out of nowhere, but I've also seen the kid just do some of the nastiest double legs in the state. So I think Garner Taylor at the 1 from Ocean Springs. Landon Trailer from Lewisburg at the 2. Thanks for coming on the live stream when we did it at St. Andrews. Jackson Tolliver from St. Martin at 3. Colton Humphreys from Oak Grove at 4. Devin Knight from Van Cleve at 5. Noah Greathouse from Pontotoc City. Congratulations, Pontotoc City, first-year program, getting a guy on the list. Had a great season. Nicholas McCumber from St. Andrews at 7, and then Hayden Hale out of East Central at 8. Again, I mean, there's no match between Landon and Garner, but Landon has had a great season, upset some kids he shouldn't have beat. That is the upset for Brandon. I don't want to say shouldn't have beat, upset some kids that people didn't think he would upset. There's the loss for Brandon Myhan. When Myhan was wrestling 75 was Landon Trailer. So that's big, but Garner Taylor is just he's a monster in that weight. And when those two do wrestle each other, it's going to be a nightmare for whoever calls that match because it's Taylor and Trailer. That's just going to be a first name match.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, for me, I think that this is a way for Garner Taylor to lose. For me, if I'm tearing this out, it would be like Garner Taylor kind of on a tier 1. Landon Trainer on a tier 2, and the rest below that. But I don't know. We'll see what kind of flavor that Landon can bring to Garner, and if Garner has an answer for it.
The thing about Landon that I've seen is Landon's really smart, right? Like he's a super smart kid, and he wrestles really smart too. He figures out really quick what positions he gets in trouble in and kind of stays away from them, and really quick what positions his opponent is having trouble with and tends to go to them. That's kind of what happened between him and Devin. I mean, Devin got up to a pretty early lead on Landon, but Landon stayed in the match and battled back and, ended up coming away with a win. So, I mean, it's just if he can take that to Garner, maybe. But I agree with you. I mean, it's Garner's way to lose. All right. Any comments that I need to pause? Because I don't have the live stream up because I'm an idiot and don't have a computer.
No, my mom just said hi. So hi, Mom.
Hi, Andy's mom, Mrs. Warren. All right. 190. This is your moment to use the nickname. We haven't used the nickname yet this whole rankings. But Case the Hammerhead Kincaid. Case the Hammerhead Kincaid at 1. Colin Christensen from Picker Unit 2. Bradley Spicer, Van Cleve 3. J.D. Matthews, North Pontotoc at 4. Harrison McCray, Lewisburg at 5. Riley Sund from Ocean Springs at 6. Adrian Miles, D'Iberville. Congratulations, D'Iberville. First year program, started wrestling late. Still end up with a guy on the list at 7. And then Liam Langstaff from DeSoto Central at 8. Again, Case Kincaid, strong wrestler, just really strong kid. It's kind of, other than, an early season loss, has kind of, done what he's supposed to do and won out since the early season loss. So that's why he's going to come away with 1. I know you're high on Colin Christensen. I haven't seen him wrestle.
So really high on Colin Christensen. Case Kincaid, from the videos that I've seen him wrestle, he wrestles like a really strong guy.
Like a 190.
So it's a lot of upper body, a lot of throws. His transitions from moveset have increased, I think. But Colin Christensen is on another level from kids that I've seen. And this is one of those spots where Tyler and I disagreed. Colin Christensen had wrestled last year, I think, at like 175, and the growth that kid has had this season. I think pound for pound, Colin Christensen's probably one of the best wrestlers in the state.
Yeah.
That kid is just the eye test. I think he beats Case.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, 1 and 2 are flipped. But Tyler and I agreed to flip it back, put Case up top. But don't be surprised if Colin Christensen's at the top of the podium. That kid has just been electric every time that I've seen him wrestle. He just passes the eye test. His movement, how he flows, how he transitions, how he wrestles on the feet. We'll see. We'll see if Case is up for the challenge. Honestly,
I haven't seen a whole lot of Colin Christensen, but from what I've seen, I don't disagree with you. But like we said at the lower weights, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. While Case Kincaid is not a returning state champion, he's a returning state finalist. And
I'm not disagreeing with it, but to me, like watching Colin Christensen wrestle in person was shocking, shocking. To the point where I didn't even know that it was the same kid that wrestled last year. It was like, who is this kid and where did Picayune pick this kid up from? I mean, just his growth from his junior. I think he's a senior this year, but just his growth has been tremendous. I willing to bet that him and Darian Champlin are practice partners. They have a very similar style, but I mean, Colin Christensen's ready for that work. And he's ready for the smoke. We'll put it that way there.
There you go.
Kyle Brewer says Colin Christensen is a sophomore. So that is dangerous.
Yeah. Danger Will Robinson. So I don't disagree with you, but for the purpose of rankings, it is what it is. But I think
that is a sophomore with a grown man's mustache. Colin Christensen grows a better mustache than I do.
Well, maybe it's something in the water in Picayune. I don't know. All right, 215. I don't think it's a surprise. Jordan Sherrod at 1. He's pretty much been a mainstay on any rankings from heavyweight to 215 since Van Cleve started wrestling. He's a 215er that wrestles like a 150-pound kid, so it's fun to watch. Devin Foyt Davenport from Lewisburg at 2. Luke Farr, Oxford at 3. Is it Jalen Johnson, or did we mess that name up?
No, it's Jaden Johnson, right? That
All
was
right.
one of the names that we jacked up. Jalen Johnson is D'Aberville's one of their 175 pounders. It's Jaden Johnson.
So Jaden
Yeah.
Johnson at 4 from D'Iberville.
4.
Braden Hawley from South Pontotoc, again, no stranger to a rankings list from South Pontotoc. I think is the only South Pontotoc wrestler on the rankings this year. So look, man, way to hold down the fort, Braden. Rex Forsyth from DeSoto Central at 6. Jay Moss from St. Andrews at 7, and then Peyton Ruth from Oak Grove at 8. I feel like it's Jordan's weight to lose. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah,
If I'm
I
right to say
I
that.
feel the same way about Jordan Sherrod that I feel about Garner Taylor at 175. I think it's Jordan's weight to lose. But if Jordan has his head in his butt that day, I mean, it's entirely possible. But
Shout out.
Go ahead.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
So I mean, I put Jordan tier 1 there. The rest, Jordan's kind of next topic to me. Yeah, but really excited about Jaden Johnson and D'Iberville. Super excited about D'Iberville's program. Those kids are scrappy. Don't underestimate the D'Iberville kids.
Yeah,
they're ready to get after it.
That's what's up. And shout out to Davenport Lewisburg. He's put that work in from where I saw him in the mat room. I want to say 3 years ago when I went up there and helped run a little practice over winter break. Kids put some work in, looked good. He looked good. He looks good this year. Looks. It's going to be fun to see if he can hold off Luke Farr in the North State and Braden Hawley and Rex Forsyth. But I mean, he's wrestled all these guys, so the North's going to be fun to see who really comes out with that 1 seed. But yeah, I think it's Jordan's. It's Sherrod's weight to lose.
I think so.
All right, 285. Look at this, man. We're flying through rankings today.
285. Once again.
What's that?
I said, Lane Evans says they all look better in a singlet than Tyler.
That's a false statement.
Right. I don't know. Have you not seen our profile pic of Tyler in a singlet and Flat Andy? So
yeah, I mean that was a throwback to Vision Quest. How dare you?
Yeah,
how dare you?
Relax.
Go to work.
Dude, I'm willing to bet. Predominantly, most of these people have never seen Vision Quest, so I mean, it's not their fault.
Yeah. So, all right, 285. 285. Number 1, Caden Hill out of Tupelo. Number 2, Hunter Bunton. I'm never going to say his name right. From French Camp. French Camp's only representative on the list at 2. Paul Harvey from Lewisburg at 3. One of the few weights where we got a top heavy North, and then 4, Hunter Gregory out of Van Cleve. 5, Braden Evans from Oak Grove. 6, Elijah Isgar from St. Patrick's. 7, Hunter Childers from North Pontotoc. And then 8, Noah Gilman from St. Martin.
So 285 to me is wide open. Caden Hill has seemingly run away with it up north, but I would be hesitant to put him in a tier above. I don't know. This one is a close one, right? My biggest fan, Will Pick-You, says that Caden Hill has only been wrestling for 2 months and still has another year. And he's putting in that work up north. That's going to be exciting to watch that kid get after it and watch him grow. Hunter Bunyan is a guy that I've seen for a while. He knows how to wrestle as a heavyweight in the state of Mississippi and knows how to make noise. Paul Harvey has a win or 2 wins over Hunter Gregory. But I mean, like this year, I think that Hunter might have been in his head a little bit. For me, this is a 1 through 4 toss up for the 1 spot. 1 through 4 toss up. After the top 4, I think there's a step down. But I think this is a 1 through 4 toss up. This is one of those where I think we wanted to put Hunter Gregory a little higher. But with that loss to Paul Harvey when Van Cleve and Lewisburg matched up, and just Paul Harvey with some losses that he's taken throughout the season, really didn't make that possible. But I mean, I think this is whoever wants to show up that Friday and Saturday, and really scrap, is in for the taking. Iskar is a returning state finalist that we have really low. And, I really hope that with Iskar that we kind of like putting as a returning state finalist and then having him ranked at number 6 kind of lights a fire under his butt, and makes him get after it. I'm really excited to see how, and I've never said this before, I'm really excited to see how heavyweight shakes out.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's always the roll of the dice. This is a state tournament with the heavyweights that we could run this like 20 times, and we're gonna have 20 different outcomes.
Right. I mean, I kind of wanted to put Hunter Gregory a little higher than we did. I kind of wanted to put Braden Evans a little higher than we did because I think Braden Evans' only in-state loss was to Hunter Gregory. But like you said, the fact that Paul Harvey had the win over Hunter Gregory, and then Paul Harvey lost twice to Camden Hill. I think that's part of the reason why we had to go there. We'll see what happens. The unfortunate thing is I do like Caden Hill. From what I've seen in the live streams, is a man among a big man among big men. And we'll see what happens. That's all I'm gonna say. We'll see. That heavyweight is one of those. It's almost so hard to predict because one bad mistake and a heavyweight gets on his back with another heavyweight on his chest. That's just about all she wrote in that weight class. You know what I mean? So,
yes, I would agree. It's kind of whoever falls down first.
I don't want to disrespect them like that, but yeah, it is. It's whoever gets.
I mean, it kind of is, and that's been the trend. And so, 1 through 4, not Evans at heavy. Brandon Lodowski says that they'll be ready to sneak right into the championship. All right, cool. Hey, I love it. It. This is a. If there is a weight, what do we talk about? 150. Was it 150 that we were talking about a toss-up?
Yeah, I think heavy's the same way.
Dude, even more so.
Yeah.
Even more so that I think that at 285, like, I mean, you're throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah.
Right? It's who's going to be who in the zoo that day.
Yeah.
And I'm ready for it.
It's more so heavyweight is more so hard to rank because of how heavyweights wrestle. So, yeah, we have, the reason why we have Caden or Hill the one is because of who he's beat, right? He hasn't lost in state. I don't think he's lost in state.
I don't know.
But I can't remember. But he's beat Paul Harvey twice, who beat Hunter Gregory. We haven't really seen a whole lot out of French Camp in the back half of the season. So, but we know who, we know who Hunter is. And again, I think he had a 1-loss record for the season, maybe a 2-loss record for the season. And yeah, we got Braden Evans sitting at 5, but like you can't put Braden Evans over Hunter Gregory when Hunter Gregory beat him. You can't put him over Paul Harvey because Paul Harvey has the win over Gregory, and you can't put any of them over Caden Hill because he's got wins over
over Paul Harvey. But the problem is the way Paul Harvey wrestles is not the way that Braden Evans wrestles. The way that Braden Evans wrestles is not the way that Isgar wrestles. So yeah, Caden is beating on Paul Harvey in the North, but they both wrestle kind of similar styles. So if you get somebody who's willing to attack his legs, how's he going to respond to that? That's what makes heavyweight so hard, because some of these guys aren't used to wrestling kids who are taking shots. So when you throw a heavyweight against somebody who's willing to take a shot, willing to attack a leg, how does that affect the way that heavyweight normally wrestles? So it's hard.
I don't know, man. We'll see. To me, this is a roll of the dice. And I like the way that it's going. I'm ready to be wrong. I'm ready to be wrong on heavyweight, 100%. So it's like all these weights. Like we want the kids that like get fired up. Like there was a young man. I don't even want to try to pronounce his first name, but last name Reed. I'm pretty sure he wrestles for Tupelo. That was at like 190 and was like upset that he wasn't ranked. Like prove us wrong. Like we're ready to be wrong. Like we want to be wrong. Like this is the only job where we want to like put out a product and then want to be wrong. Like you're not gonna hurt my feelings. You're not gonna hurt Tyler's feelings. If I'm right over Tyler, like I'm just gonna make fun of Tyler. But at the end of the day, we're two grown men that are in our 30s talking about high school wrestling. Like prove us wrong. Like we're ready to be wrong. I'm excited. I'm excited for the state tournament. I'm excited for heavyweight. I'm excited for 150. I'm excited for all the weights. I'm just ready to see some high quality wrestling,
which we're going to see this weekend on the girls and the boys.
Both. Ready to get after it.
It's going to be fun.
Do you have anything else about heavies?
No, I don't have anything about heavies. I was actually going to transition into girls wrestling again. So speaking of the girls, you said you did the rankings earlier.
Sure did. So here's the thing, right? So like I said, I did a live earlier. I said that for this set of rankings, I kind of reached out, asked some questions, didn't get the answers that I needed. So I was going to place out top 8, decided that I was going to place top 4 while I was doing it, just based on the data that I had available on track. So I have since got the data that I needed. So these rankings are going to be different. They are going to be, we'll just call this a solid rough draft for the rankings. We're waiting on some graphics to come out, so I'm not ready to publicly release the rankings that I place these girls out at. But so after South State and North State, we are going to produce another set of rankings in that week. So we are going to do boys and girls. So we don't get 1,000 questions on when we're doing the girls rankings, right? They're going to happen. We're going to do boys and girls between South State and North State and the state tournament. And then, so the guidance that I got was we are allowing 2 girls per school, per weight. And so with that being said, with this set of rankings, I only did 1 girl per school, per weight. And we'll see how that shakes it up. And then the next set of rankings, based on availability, I'm going to try to do top 8 or place it all the way through. Some of the weights might not have 8 girls in them. Some of them might have more. So we'll see how that kind of works out. But for this set of girls rankings that's going to come out, we're just waiting on graphics to release them. And then we're going to release them the same way that we've released boys rankings the last 2 days, is I'm going to slowly release them however I want, at whatever intervals I want, because I want the page interactions on the Facebook page. And it's all about the analytics. And really, I just want to be a jerk and I want to keep everybody on their toes. So the girls' rankings are done. They have been sent off for graphics. I'm waiting for graphics to come back. And then I'm hoping that they are all out by tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah.
If they are not, then I will release a document that has them all. And we'll go about it the way that we need to go about it. But they are done. Top 4, each weight, top 4. All of them are done. Top 4. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to dropping it. The young ladies in the state are not forgotten about. It's just analytics and just looking at brackets and track wrestling and all of that stuff. It's really hard to come out with an accurate top 8. Because like I said on my live feed, like I pulled up a young lady that had like a 14-2 record, and she had 14 buys and 2 losses were the matches that she actually wrestled.
Right.
So how am I supposed to accurately put that? It's hard. And a lot of those are, young ladies have a winning record, but they're all forfeits. So do they really have a winning record? Not necessarily, So we'll see how it shakes out. But I'm really looking forward to being able to do a little bit more of an accurate rankings after the regional tournaments. And then that's the girls' ranking that you should be looking for. But I'm gonna give you a sample, a Costco sample, for the first 4 for this one.
There we go. Well, look, stay tuned for it. It's gonna come. But look, we're it's almost 10 o'clock at night. It's past my bedtime. It's past Andy's bedtime. You got anything
I don't go
else?
to work tomorrow. I'm super excited. And then I have a 5-hour bus ride that I get a nap on. So
There you go. Well, you got anything else you want to say before we jump off and end this thing and let people go back and watch it?
Nope. Just that it's postseason, baby. I'm excited.
Postseason.
Everybody should be excited. And just so you know, we'll pick you. I hope you find me at South or at State. Let's take a selfie. We'll post it on the gram. I love taking a picture with my biggest hater. And I don't give a piss about nothing but the cleave, baby. So let's get after it.
There you go. Look, time to put in the work, ladies and gentlemen. Good luck to everybody this weekend. I'll be watching it on Flow. I'm sure we'll have something else set up for Facebook, maybe from the foundation, but if not, we'll figure that out. But look, good luck to everybody. I hope everybody has safe travels. I hope everybody stays healthy because we want a good individual state. And look, until next time, Mississippi, let's wrestle, baby.
Let's wrestle, Mississippi.